Welcome back to the Sports Syllabus show, guys. As you can tell, I'm not with Luke Young. Who am I joined with?
Soleil Barnes from
Um,
the women's basketball
yep,
team.
I was about to ask, what do you do? So, Soleil's a basketball player here at Bradley. First year at Bradley.
Yes.
Um, so we'll kind of start. Where's my phone? So I do a segment with all my guests. My mom, she's at a workout class right now, so she can't call in, but she sent me an audio file um of she asks you athletes two questions. So I'll play her question and then you can give us your responses.
Okay, sounds
They're
good.
not like crazy serious. They're just kind of, it's a mom. So
Okay.
just remember that.
Sounds good.
Do you believe there are any unique challenges female athletes face compared to male athletes in your sport?
I don't think there's too many challenges I can think off the top of my head. I think the one that like instantly came to my head is the fact that we'll get teed up if like we talk crazy or do anything crazy.
But
The
the
men,
guys, yeah.
yeah, I just let things slide, and I just think that needs to change.
The
That's one of the
guys
things
the
I think that
guys
needs to
like
change.
even at their basketball, like just the men's game alone are like crazy, like just in like they just say crazy, like just cuss them
Yes.
out.
Yes, and we just can't say anything. And it's like soon as like I just look at another player where they're ready to tee me up. So it's
Yeah.
just that's one thing I can just
Mhm.
think of the top of my head. I don't think there's anything too crazy other than of course like when you come to the professional things of it, like just more equal pay,
Yeah,
if
but that's
anything.
something that
That's
the
quickly
world is,
changing too
yeah,
though.
which is well deserved. I mean,
Yeah.
I was talking about today in my Com 160 class, but like how yeah, our men's basketball team is good at the Olympic level, but our women's team like never loses.
Yeah.
And they don't really get the recognition that they
Exactly.
deserve.
Exactly.
So my second question, or my mom's second question, this is one she asked to everybody, and we've had a guy from Scotland, um, Louisiana, and Colorado. So they've all given us different answers.
Okay.
It's a bit of hometown taste. So
Okay, okay.
And my next question is, what is your favorite home cooked meal?
Oh, my favorite home cooked meal.
because you're from Michigan, correct?
Yeah, so I have to clear this up for everybody. I'm originally from Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
So my senior year of high school, I moved to Michigan. So that's like kind of like my permanent home now.
Okay.
But I'd say my favorite home cooked meal is my dad's. He makes like a really good mac and cheese, and I know
Mhm.
that's just like a side,
Yeah.
but like that's literally like if he makes it, that's
Mhm.
probably all I'll eat for like.
Yeah, my brother makes there's this Bobby Flay recipe that he found. He did like a during quarantine, they had like a Zoom pod or like a Zoom cooking class and they got a Bobby Flay, like Bobby Flay was on it, and they did a mac and cheese. And that's like I'm not a big cheese guy. Like I'll only
Hmm.
eat pizza, that's really it.
Yeah,
And that was the best mac and cheese I've ever had.
yeah,
So I can get what you're saying.
yeah.
Is
I
it like
did.
breaded? Does he bread it like on the top?
No, honestly, he does a simple cheese sauce, adds cheese on it, and I don't know, like he just puts like his own little touch on it. And it's just
Yeah,
like nobody else makes this mac and cheese, and I can eat it for 3 days straight.
that's fair. Yeah, the
So,
leftovers are better, I
oh my
think.
goodness.
So we'll kind of start with what's your pregame routine or well, what's your pregame song? That's my question. What's your like go-to pregame song that kind of gets you fired up?
So I have like two songs that I have to listen to before I get into like my playlist, and it's a gospel song first, "No Weapon" by Todd Dudley. I just need to know like God got me covered throughout the
Hmm.
game, and He has the game in His hands. And then I also listen to my brother's song. He also made a song. He's also like trying to become an upcoming artist.
Uh-huh.
So his song is oh my God, I can't think of it. It literally was oh my god, I forgot. But it's my one of my brother's songs. It's
Yeah.
like probably one of my favorite songs he's made. It talks about like just overcoming a lot of things and
Yeah.
like doing this for our mom and stuff like
Hmm.
that. So and then the next song that's probably get me fired up is Sports Center by D-Lo. I don't remember his last name, but that song just gets me turned. I like
Yeah.
upbeat songs.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
not
fair.
necessarily looking for what the words are saying, like, but it gets me
Like
upbeat. It's a
just the
good
beat.
beat.
Yeah,
I'm turned up.
I
I'm
get
ready to
that.
go.
Because some guys need like or some people need like good songs and like lyrics and beats, but like I
Hmm.
get what you're saying with the beat. Because if you just
Yeah.
have that blasting in your headphones, like
Then I'm just like, I'm locked in. I don't
you're
hear
like
nothing.
bumping to it. You're like,
Yeah.
so what other sports besides basketball did you play growing up? And then to kind of build on that, what sport besides basketball do you think you would have been the most successful in?
So, my dad actually allowed me to do. cross country in the 7th grade because he wanted me more in shape. That was probably the last time I ever
Yeah,
did that
yeah.
because I was like, running
Not
is just
running,
not
yeah.
for me. However, I was in great condition for the
Mhm.
basketball game.
Yeah.
And then another sport I played was volleyball, but I only got to do those two sports for 1 year because my dad really wanted me to focus on basketball because I was doing regular season and I also doing AAU. So
Yeah.
like he didn't want me to have any injuries come from any other sport but
Mhm.
basketball. But I think I would have been successful in volleyball. Like I
A
wish you
lot
would have
of
just let me
a lot
like
of
play.
basketball players who, like, and obviously this wasn't the case for you, but most basketball players who aren't good at basketball end up playing volleyball because and then they become good because
Yeah.
volleyball, I mean, it's different with you, but especially on the men's side, is usually a lot of taller guys who
Hmm.
tried basketball and, like, are not coordinated enough,
Yeah.
and they're usually pretty good at it. So, I'm
Yeah.
not saying, I mean, that's where most of the, basketball, like, washed basketball
Mhm.
players go, I guess.
Yeah.
And then why do you love basketball? You know, especially where, like, now, people say, I mean, it's like your job we were talking about earlier. So you gotta love it, or else you're not. You
Mhm.
should. There's no reason you should be doing it. So, what's your love for basketball?
I'm just a student. Like I love learning. Like there's so much you can continue to learn from the game of basketball, and like with a lot of the things that I had went through sitting out, like throughout my college career, I didn't know like the things that you could continue to learn sitting out instead of being in the game or like in practice. There's a lot you can learn from just sitting out and watching
Hmm.
people. So that's why I love basketball. You always can get to learn something, and
Yeah.
then like the competitiveness of it, like
Yeah.
it's
It's
just
one of
like
the
that
best.
winning feeling, like even a losing feeling, learning from it and continue to get back into the gym and fixing those errors or
Hmm.
fixing the things that you're not so good at and becoming better at it. It's so much things you can continue to get better at.
Yeah.
So I think that's what I love about basketball. You can continue to get better at so many things. You can
Hmm.
perfect your craft. You can just learn from a lot of things. So
That's fair. So, I think I feel like you kind of answered this, but or do you think you'll be a coach down the line?
no, I'm
Oh,
sorry.
really?
The one coach, I think I'm a person who had to learn patience at a very
Yeah.
at this recent age. So like me trying to help somebody else, and I'm a type of person like I only have to say it one time because it comes off nice. I'm not a mean person.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
usually when I'm coming to you, I'm encouraging you or I'm telling
Yeah.
you, hey, I need you to do this. So if you're not listening to when I say it
You're
the
gonna
first time,
start
it's just
to.
like I lose my patience.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So I
fair.
don't think coaching is in my near future. But if the job presents itself, we'll see.
Yeah, I mean,
So
some people might even just ask about, D1 stuff, so.
yeah, you're right.
So your current number is 4,
Hmm.
so I kinda got a two-parter. What was your first number, and then why is your current number 4?
So my first number was number two, and I had got the number two because my brother had the number two.
Mhm,
So when I first started playing basketball, I was playing with him and his team. So until I got to 5th grade, I was able to start playing with girls,
yeah,
and I changed to number four because my birthday is January 4th. My
mhm,
dad also wore number four.
yeah,
It's me, my brother, my little brother, and my little sister. So it's four of us. And then also my favorite player at the time was Skylar Diggins
mhm,
and
and
she wore
who's
number
number 4?
4,
Yeah.
so
And then you were at Toledo, which is another mid-major,
mhm.
but what drew you to Bradley and specifically, like, Peoria, because a lot of people, if you're not like around here, a lot of people call it Dirty P.
Mhm, yeah.
So what drew you to the beautiful city of Peoria, Illinois?
Honestly, it was, Coach Pop, like, she was just, like, a person that kinda, like, was interested to know who I was, and I had told every coach that was recruiting me, "I'm looking for a place that has a family atmosphere and I can call my second home. I don't wanna go anywhere where it doesn't feel like I can be myself and, I can grow." And she had promised me that this was gonna be a place where she challenged me, and this would be a place where it felt like family, so when I came here, and it felt just like that, and it felt like that with the people that stayed here,
Mhm.
that's still here on the team, and honestly, Peoria is literally built like Toledo, if I'm being
Oh,
honest. Like,
really?
yeah, like the same
Like
city,
one
same
kind
town.
of big street-ish
Yes.
area?
So it was a place where I had no distractions because I didn't want to go into my last year to be distracted by
Mhm.
a whole bunch of outside things going
Yeah.
on. So um I just love the coaches. I love the team. The teammates that were still here, they
Mhm.
really were invested in what Coach Pop had going on. And it necessarily, I didn't know about like anything that happened last year until I came here. Like,
Mhm.
and I
Yeah,
committed.
last year was, I mean, I'm a freshman, but last year was pretty rough.
Yeah, and so I wasn't worried about that. I was just worried about a coach who's going to challenge me and know
Yeah,
that I can handle any challenge, and I want to be pushed because I know my potential. And she
yeah,
believed in me, and she always says I bet it on myself, but I bet it on her, and it's been great ever since.
yeah,
This year's been
and,
great.
um, so she was kinda a person that you sort of gravitated towards?
Yeah,
Because she's like I feel like most people kinda think when you're going to a women's game, it's like the coaches aren't gonna be intense. She's like
very.
she
She's
was like,
very
she's
intense.
jumping, like,
Yeah.
at like, mad, like
Yeah, she just cares, like, and I just love that. Like, she has so much passion.
mhm,
And there was a time where the game was taken from her, so she uses this opportunity to feel like she's a part of it.
yeah,
And so we do our best to make her feel a part.
mhm.
So
And then last year, you averaged 4.3 points, and this year you've had a crazy leap to 15. So,
mhm.
what do you kind of what's the biggest reason you think for your improvement?
I think I just continued to believe in myself. Like I knew what I was capable of, and I wanted a coach to know what I was capable of. That you weren't just getting a person who knows her role, but a person who can go outside her role and give you more.
Yeah.
So I think, and then also like I was saying with the recruiting process, I wanted a coach who challenged me. When I got here, it was like instant first workout. I
Mhm.
was challenged. Like
Yeah.
I haven't done. I tell Pop all the time, I haven't done this much ever in my college
Yeah.
career before I came here, and
Mhm.
so I just looked at it as an opportunity to take face it head on. So I think just me being challenged and me always believing in myself and that the work will pay off helped me.
Yeah. And then so when I was looking at some of your stuff, you were a champion. You won the MAC at Toledo.
Hmm.
And we kind of talked about last year for Bradley women's team was kind of rough.
Yeah.
And this year we've had a turnaround. We have definitely improved a lot.
Hmm.
So what do you think winning that MAC has kind of helped you bring that sort of winning mindset to and like help the newer kind of younger team and on the team to kind of understand what it's like to win and what they got to do to win?
Definitely. I had told them before the season started, as we continue to build like our chemistry and stuff, that at the end of the day, we're on the court and it's about how hard are we going to go for each other before we go, hard for our coaches. Like our
Yeah.
coaches can give us the instructions, they can give us the game plan, but it's on us to execute it.
Yeah.
So we started practicing that in the summer, like just building our culture and building this is what we're going to do. This is the standard we're going to set and we're
Hmm.
going to live by that standard. Yes, we struggled throughout the year to hold it, but now we're to a place where we're finally connecting the dots. So I
Yeah.
just told him at Toledo, like there was a point in time where we were struggling to kind of follow out the game plan of our coaches. And at the
Hmm.
end of the day, we had to sit down in our locker room and say, guys, we have to play for each other. And this is the last stretch. And if we're going to go out, we're going to go out playing for each other and playing hard. And that's the year we won
Hmm.
and also ended up going to the tourney and won the first round game. So I believe we had that in our locker room. We have that with our team and we still have that. And we've set the standard for that to be carried out for these
Exactly.
next
And
years.
I mean, the great thing about college basketball, which I think is better than any other, maybe college baseball, because they're the only other sport that kind of does this tournament style. But once you reach here, everyone's 0-0 because we're
Hmm.
coming up. I mean, you guys not yet, but in men's, it's becoming conference season.
Yep.
So it's conference tournament season. Everyone's zero. The record, you throw that out, it doesn't matter.
Right.
I would assume Toledo was the underdog, the lower seed when you guys won that game in March. And that's why there are these teams that last year with NC State in the
Hmm.
men's bracket,
Right.
there are these teams that go on these runs because if you get hot at the right time, that's
Things can
amazing.
change
Is
for
that
you.
basketball's literally a game of runs, so you can go on
Literally.
a run. And you guys have been playing relatively well. I mean, you lost a heartbreaker to Valpo, but
Hmm.
that was a great game.
Yeah.
The UIC game, you guys were up, you got down, and then you bowed back and won that one. So you guys
Hmm.
are kind of in a good. And now we got to finish the season strong and then
Right.
carry that into the Valley tournament, which I don't know if you know anything, but I've heard. I mean, I'm a freshman, so I can't really be like, "Oh, it's awesome." But
Hmm.
I've heard that it's the like Arch Madness is a great experience. So I
Definitely.
hope it will be for us, not just in the sense of you enjoy your time, but also
Hmm.
we win.
Yeah, for sure.
Um,
That's the goal.
and then you've been in college for a little bit, but you've dealt with a bunch of injuries, and the
Hmm.
fact that you're still playing is a testament to you. Um, and a lot of people usually lose love for the game with
Hmm.
with the injuries because it's all mental. You're just I try and rehab, and then you get hurt again. So what have you kinda done to deal with all those injuries? Because that's I would assume a lot of mental fatigue on you.
Definitely. I think the hardest was the third one. Mostly on my mental because I was just not understanding why it had to happen again. But I gave myself an hour after I did it and I had, talked to God because I'm very fond in my faith. And I just always knew like there was a bigger plan. Like,
Mhm.
like just always trusting that God has a purpose coming outside of this. And I know like as a young kid, like God gifted me this gift to play basketball.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that can stop me from continuing to show the world like what type of player I am. And I
Yeah.
was determined to get back to at least play how I used to play and
Mhm.
get back to loving it. So I knew that I had to dig deeper into my faith more than anything. The physical I've already done, I've been through
Yeah,
it.
you
It was the mental, like to just keep going
Mhm.
and to just trust the process and to have confidence in myself and never lose that
Eh
because it comes from yourself instead of other people.
yeah, and then were they all knee injuries?
Definitely, yeah,
So those are even a lot of those are rough ones. I mean, we
yeah.
just saw, Kyrie
Oh my
just
goodness.
tore it. Did you see
Oh my goodness, it hurt
he
my heart.
tore his ACL and then he goes to the line and I saw a clip earlier, and you kinda were talking about your faith.
Mhm.
He's shooting the free throws and you if you read his lips, he said, "Thank
Thank you,
God."
God. Yeah, I seen it.
So, I was like, "That's bad."
Yeah.
Because if he's thanking God, this has gotta be something bad.
They better watch out next year. That's all I'm saying.
The Nico Harrison is I mean, right now he's looking like the biggest idiot on the planet
Yeah.
just because he trades his star, then the star he gets hurt in the first game,
Mhm.
and then the other star that he's banking on tears his ACL.
Yeah.
So,
Ah,
they
bro.
better hope next year either Lucas starts to play, like, bad, which we all know is not gonna happen,
Not.
and you better hope that Kyrie comes out with a vengeance.
Oh
Because
yeah.
I mean, this team right now, I think all of their starters are currently injured.
Mhm.
Um, so when they come back, even with AD, they can still be like a decent. I mean, Spencer Dinwiddie's a good bat. I mean, he's not Kyrie, but
Yeah.
who is?
Yeah.
They still have a really good team. So I think they'll make the playoffs. I just don't know if they'll be kind of a crazy dominant. You know how
Mhm.
they would have been.
It's like you said though, we never know. A basketball's a game of runs. So
Exactly. Uh,
hopefully they make a little run.
Exactly. It would be interesting,
Yeah.
especially if they play Luca in the playoffs. That would be I would love to see how the Mavs fans treat him when he comes back.
Right.
If it's love or if it's, screw Nico Harrison, because a lot of it's been screw Nico
Yeah.
Harrison. So
Yeah.
we'll see about that. But we kind of talked about your game day song. What's your game day routine looking like? Is it like consistent? Because with some of the other guys we've had, they don't really do a routine. They kind of just go and work with the team and kind of do their own little stuff. So what
Mhm.
is it like for you?
Yeah, I don't really have a routine. I just go in there. Oh, actually, I know for shoot around, I have to wear a hoodie.
Hmm.
Like just hoodie over my head or whatever it is. I think that's the only thing I do. Usually I'm just trying to just get in game mode and more so like just relax and just
Hmm.
know that it's just basketball.
Yeah.
So it's not too much I'm doing. I'm just trying to relax and have a calm mind.
Because I'll kind of get into this. I'm a baseball player, or I was a baseball player. We're a very superstitious sport, so I feel
Hmm.
like when I start getting with the baseball guys, I'm gonna hear a lot of superstitions
Yeah.
because it baseball. I mean, is a great player in baseball is 3 for 10. So
Hmm.
it's all about failure. So when you kind of go on like a hot streak, you're like, if I'm wearing these, like I had this thing in high school where I would wear these specific socks.
Hmm.
They were like these Red Sox socks after they won the World Series,
Hmm.
and they had like the gold like Sox logo. And if I didn't wear those and I would play, I'd be like, that's why.
Yeah.
So you always find an excuse.
Uh-huh.
So
I used to do that with like certain shoes that I
mhm,
wore.
yeah, yeah,
It's
yeah.
the shoes. I'm not wearing these no
Yeah.
more.
So what brand speaking of shoes, what was Toledo Under Armour as well?
Oh, they were Nike.
So do you wear are you can you technically wear Nikes or do you have to wear Under Armours
Yeah, I
technically
think
here?
just because like that's the
Sponsor.
that we have to wear underarm, and it took me a little minute to get
Yeah, I
used
was
to
about to
it.
ask.
Yeah.
What was your what do you just personal cuz shoes, I just had a track guy.
Hmm.
He's all about, running shoes. So they're
Yeah.
like it's a lot of personal preference. So what do you personally prefer? Do you prefer Nikes more probably?
I definitely do prefer Nike just because that's what I'm used to. My dad used to always say before I got into college, we are a Nike family.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
So he wasn't really
And
allowing me to
now
go
how the
anywhere. And
tables have
yeah.
turned.
But I do like Under Armour's undergear. I
Yeah,
like
like
their
their dry
socks
fit
and
gear.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
definitely. I
Their
think they're
gear's
definitely
good.
better than Nike, but the shoes I definitely prefer Nike.
That's fair. Um, so we kind of talked about your, Toledo. What kind of lessons, and that can be life lessons or basketball, you said you love learning the game.
Mhm.
Did you learn at Toledo that you brought here at Bradley, would you say?
I think because I've probably been in every position a basketball player can be in, like getting a lot of time on the court. I've started one time. I've rode the bench and didn't play. I think that bringing that experience here and just sharing that with my teammates to encourage them, is probably the biggest thing I'll say. Because it's good that I always looking back at it now, like it's good that I went through it. But in the
Mhm.
moment, it was just so hard 'cause it was just like, I know I'm better than what they made it
Exactly.
seem. But I think that's the biggest thing I take away from Toledo is just going through everything that a basketball player could go through and just encouraging the youth coming in or some people that are sophomores or juniors that's still struggling with it. So I think that's the biggest thing that I brought here is just my experience and how I got through it and what to do to keep
Mhm.
loving the game of basketball. So
Yeah, because I mean, your senior night was Saturday, and you only have 4 seniors, so you're a really relatively young team.
mhm.
So you kind of have to be that sort of leader and
Yeah.
mentor. And one of the things that stands out for you, your hair,
Mhm.
in it's red and white. Would you say whitish,
Blonde,
bleach blonde,
bleach
whatever.
blonde, yeah.
We'll say red and white for the
Right, right.
scenario. Was that a color because you came here, or was that just kind of coincidence?
Nah, it's definitely a coincidence because I always loved dyeing my hair red. I just thought it looked like really good on me, so I just
Mhm.
stuck with it. And then I also like blonde, so I was just like maybe and I've never tried like
The split.
the split, so I just wanted to give it a try and I just stuck with it and I
Mhm.
liked it. So
Yeah, I mean,
as you can see, it's the color of
exactly,
Bradley.
exactly. Yeah, because when I was at one of the games, I was like, "Was that kinda by coincidence?" So
Yeah.
I was like, "Why not?" It's worth a shot to ask. So we talked about your dad. Your dad played D1 at
Mhm.
Ohio.
Yes.
And that's kind of something I've seen with some of the D1 players. Christian Davis had his brother played D1.
Mhm.
So does having someone in your family, um, who was D1, does that kinda help you stay motivated?
Yeah, he was my coach. My fifth grade coach. He was my AAU coach. And just like his experience and how much he loved basketball and how I had to stop for him early. When me and my brother were born. I just wanted to continue the legacy for him.
Yeah.
And a lot of people think I'm do it for him, but I fell in love by myself.
Mhm.
And we just fell in love together with it. So him training me, him coaching me up. He always says like I never had somebody do this for me. So he's just always happy to coach me up and tell me what to do. It's
Yeah.
not a second goes by, not a day goes by where he's not coaching me or
Uh-huh.
encouraging me, and he's just so proud of me. And that's always the plan to like make
Yeah.
my dad and my mom proud. So
Yeah, I mean, that's most of I'm the oldest, so I gotta are you and your we'll get into this later, but are you and your brother the oldest ones?
yeah,
Yeah, so that's
hmm
kinda what it's like being the oldest.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think you make a great point when like and in all my coaches, my dad was a D1 water polo player and swimmer, and I
hmm
swam in high school. And it's not like any of my coaches weren't good coaches, but you always kind of go back to your dad.
yep,
I feel like especially for sports,
hmm
you're like it's not like they're the bad coaches, it's just you trust your dad because you think your dad and your parents know everything.
yeah,
And then
definitely,
sadly you start to realize they don't know everything.
yeah, they don't.
Especially when you get older and you start to have a voice and you're
Yeah,
kind of disagreeing with with them.
yeah,
So, but yeah, I agree with that. I think that, and it's not like the coaches you have or have had are not great coaches.
hmm
It's just your dad is,
yeah.
your biggest supporter.
Yeah, he definitely sees the game like the way I see it.
Mhm.
So and he's also been a person like to always keep me humble. So
Yeah.
like I don't always have to talk about the good things or I don't need a like a pat on the back for doing something that's I'm supposed to if it's good. So
Mhm.
he keeps me humble and I always know he's going to text me when I need to do better.
Yeah.
So
And then so we kind of talked about, you have a twin,
mhm.
and I don't have a twin. I have a younger brother, but my girlfriend has a fraternal twin,
Mhm.
and my cousins are twins. They're not identical, but they're twins. So speaking of kind of how your dad helped you, did your brother, who is also, I'm assuming you get this a lot, he's 2 minutes older than you, so I'm
Yeah,
guessing you heard your fair share of it. So
definitely.
does he kind of help you, keep on going? Because giving you that older brother. I mean, I'm an older brother, so
Mhm.
I can imagine what he does to
Yeah.
kind of mess with you.
Yeah, he definitely helped me fall more in love with the game as we grew up. We always played one on one,
Yeah.
very competitive,
Who
very
who I
very
gotta ask,
violent.
who would win?
Me,
Really?
and he knows it. He knows it. It was very back and forth. He was very quick.
Uh-huh.
Had a lot of handles and stuff, but he just never learned his lesson. Like
Yeah.
I can shoot the basketball.
Yeah.
I want you to get up in my area. He just wanted to never learn his lesson, so it failed him at
Yeah,
the end.
yeah,
But
yeah.
he's definitely always like he's such a big proud big brother. He's
That's
always
awesome.
reposting and always letting everybody know, my twin plays basketball, you
Yeah.
can't guard her, all this other stuff. So I really appreciate his support. Like his support means more to me than he'll ever know.
That's awesome because, like, having I mean, like, a dad is cool, but, like, my brother's, like, a year and a half younger than me, so
Hmm.
it's a lot easier to relate, and then you have a twin, so you're literally going through stuff together.
Yeah.
So it's a lot easier, like you said, your dad's a great coach, but it's also, like, you can tell your brother stuff that, like, your
Hmm.
dad wouldn't necessarily get just because he's not understanding it.
Right.
Being a kid now being in college now compared to being a kid in college when our parents were in college is a completely different experience. NIL money, all of
Hmm.
that. So it's a completely different landscape.
Yeah.
And then we kind of talked earlier about Coach Pop. What has
Hmm.
she done for you and your game like that has made you, become this kind of mid-major superstar?
Yeah. Pop. There's so much I can say. Just the fact that, and I always tell her, just the fact that she trusted me to handle the challenge that she was giving me is the biggest thing I'll take from like our relationship. Like she definitely did not fail when she said she was going to challenge me, but she also said like you're going to be able to shine bright, really, and she's allowed me to do that. And it's not, there's coaches who like aren't hard on their best players. There's not a day goes by where she's like, Soleil, like, you need to be better than this. Soleil, you need to pick up your energy.
Hmm.
Soleil, your team needs you.
Yeah,
She always keeps me like even.
lovely. Yeah.
Yeah. So and just her letting me be the player I knew I could be.
Hmm.
That was the biggest thing. A coach that allowed me to be Soleil Barnes,
Hmm.
be the player I was like back in high school. I haven't been
Yeah.
able to feel like that since high school.
Hmm.
So there's so much I can say, but really just her being able to trust me and I trust her and we have that relationship to where I can do what I'm doing or have been doing all season.
Yeah, and then I gotta ask, I've seen how intense she is at games.
Hmm.
Do you guys ever kind of get intense at each other in practices? Have you guys ever had any heated moments?
No, it was probably a time where like she gets talking like crazy,
Uh-huh.
and I'm just like, Pop. Anyways, you want to be with the opposite team? Go ahead. We don't want you. Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
that's probably the worst it's gotten to her. Like it was one time. It was a really rough practice. She had kicked us out to think about our actions, and we
Yeah,
came in. And we just had to do what we had to do. And she was over there talking smack. And I was like,
yeah,
just shut all that up.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
we're
yeah,
going to do what we
yeah,
need to do. If you want it, we're going to do it.
yeah. Yeah.
So that's probably the most intense we've been
Mhm.
at each other. But mainly it's just her humbling me,
Yeah,
correcting
that's
me,
fair.
and keeping me honest.
Mhm.
So,
'Cause, some of the basketball guys I've talked to, they said that Wardle is kinda like you don't view them obviously, they're your coach, but you view them more as like a friend
mm-hmm,
than as a coach, sort of.
mm-hmm,
So that's why I was kinda interested because obviously, you still it's kinda like the respect of the authority. You're
mm-hmm.
not gonna be like, "F you," all that,
Yeah.
but I was kinda interested to see if you guys ever have had bickering arguments, 'cause
Yeah.
but I just from, like, mom strength is a real thing. Does
Hmm.
she have any children?
No, but she's
But
definitely our mom.
like, just the intensity, like, that's, like, scary, like,
Yeah.
when you're younger, especially me being a boy, I was a troublemaker with my
Hmm.
brother, so, like, we
Hmm.
always would get our mom yelled at us.
Yeah.
That's, like, not a fun experience. That's
Yeah.
just, like,
No,
what it seems like when she yells.
it
Just
definitely is.
especially on Saturday against UIC, she was like, there was I forgot what happened, but there was, like, a bad call, and she was, like, jumping,
Yeah.
punching air. She was getting into it.
Yes, and in the moments, there is moments where like she's yelling or she's trying to be like serious, and I have to look away because I
Yeah,
can't
yeah,
take her
yeah, yeah, yeah.
serious.
Because then you're gonna be running what we like to call
Right,
suicides.
right.
So
And or she'll have me on the side doing a plank or a push up
oh,
or
that's
something.
rough.
Yeah. So, but she's definitely the mom of our team, our coach and our mom. So we love her. Some we need to take her more serious.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we do. It's just like how she does it. Like how people do
It's
it.
funny. It's
Yeah.
funny.
So it's a lot of those times, but
And then, we kinda talked, you guys aren't in, tournament season yet,
mhm.
but you're coming up on it. So what's something you think you have to work on coming up on this big stretch? You
Mhm.
got 2 road games, and then you're on the road again in Arch Madness. So what
Right.
did you think you gotta work on?
I think the coaches were saying this earlier today. We're not a team that necessarily wins on the road, and I think that comes from us not punching first. And
Mhm.
we have had a problem of not punching first in a lot of our games this year. So I think coming out with that confidence and that oomph, like to
Yeah,
start the game off, like we're gonna win this game and we're not gonna let up and we're not gonna make anything easy for you guys.
yeah,
I think that's something that we need to harp on because we're a really good defensive team.
yeah, I mean,
It's
yeah,
just the
you saw
offensive we
you guys
struggle
are
with.
I mean, like, you get the score, I think it was 50 something to 60 something, but
Mhm.
the game in the, I think, first half especially, was a really kinda back and forth defense, a lot of turnovers, a lot of,
Yeah.
like, smacking,
Mhm.
and not in, like, a bad sense, just, like, the ball was going all over. You got both
Yeah.
teams were really good defensively in
Yeah,
that game,
definitely.
so, uh, but yeah, that's I agree. I think that being especially on the road in D1.
Mhm.
I'm an Illinois fan, and we've had games where we just beat Michigan by 20 plus, and we went to Eugene earlier in the year and won by 30.
Mhm.
The reason why is because they started those games off with explosive runs,
Exactly.
and if you can do that, that's demoralizing, especially for not just the team, but also the fans. They're
Yeah,
going there, they're expecting your team to, because home court advantage in the NBA is one thing. In college basketball, it's a whole different animal.
definitely.
So the fans are there, they're expecting their team to win.
Mhm.
And if you can start the game up, that's just demoralizing for
Yeah,
them.
and that's exactly how I felt when we beat Illinois State and they brought all those fans in there.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I was
And you
very
dropped
pleased.
you dropped 30 on
Yep,
them.
and they had to feel every 30 points of that.
Exactly. So I talked to Duke Dean earlier in the year,
Mhm.
and he said that he thinks they learn more from losses than wins than losses, I think. Yeah, he said they learn more from wins than losses.
Mhm.
So what do you think? Do you think you guys learn more from wins or losses?
We're a team that learns more from losses because like we don't necessarily take it as a loss, we take it as a lesson.
Mhm.
And so there's a lot of things that um we take from the losses because it's things that we can control.
Mhm.
And a lot of the times when we're controlling the controllables, we're winning.
Yeah.
And so that's usually our downfall in losses, is that we aren't controlling the controllables
Yeah.
or we're having a slow start. So when we know that and we apply it to the next game and we see that we can do that,
Yeah.
that's something that we learn from and that we just need to continue to do every game from here on out.
Mhm.
It's just control the
Yeah.
controllables and start off with fast, quick pace, like
Mhm.
and play Bradley basketball.
Yeah, because he kinda said, and I'm gonna ask you about this too, he learned because he brought up specifically the UIC game when they were in Chicago, and
Mhm.
they won that game, and I don't know if you were watching, but that game was one of the worst Bradley men's
Yeah.
games I've ever watched, and they still won.
Yeah.
So he was like, "We kinda learned that game especially where you're not supposed to win that game,"
Mhm.
and we learned that we won, and you learned that, you learn what you can fix. So have you
Mhm.
guys had any kinda games this year where you were like, "We've played awful and we somehow managed to win that?"
Mhm. I think we played awful. When we have played awful, we've had good fight back and just still lost.
Mhm.
And I think I want to talk more so on like the Valpo game because that was a
You were
game
down by, like, what was it, 20?
21. Yeah.
Yeah, and, I mean, you were seconds away. They hit a 3,
Yeah.
with, what, 2 seconds or something?
Yep.
So,
Mhm.
like, it's just that's, like, you can't do anything,
Exactly,
like.
exactly. But it started, I think we learned that it starts with the first 5, 10, 20 minutes
Mhm,
of the game that we had lost,
mhm,
that we had to fight back to get to that point.
yeah,
We necessarily didn't lose because of the big three we lost in the first half.
yeah,
So that's probably the biggest thing
mhm,
that we took away from that
yeah.
game. And that was probably the hardest lesson we had to learn. And
Because then you're playing catch up the whole game,
exactly.
and that's kind of where you're playing catch up, you start to reach that sort of desperation mode where
Hmm.
you're kinda getting near the end and you're like, "We just gotta put shots up now. We
Yeah.
just gotta no matter what, and we just gotta rely on our offensive rebounding," which we're a pretty good rebounding team, I would
Mhm.
say. But I gotta ask, who's your favorite player? And that can be NBA or if you want to do WNBA or both, I'm all for it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do both. NBA, LeBron James, and
Yep.
no, it's not because he's from Ohio.
Okay.
I just like that. Although he should always have the switch on, when the switch is on, you can't
I
stop him.
agree. That's
You
my
can't stop him. His IQ is so high. It's so much stuff that he can bring to the table. You can't guard him going to the basket.
yeah.
Then if he wanted to decide to shoot, he can get hot. Like,
Exactly.
and then also like he's a person that does a lot for the community. Like he's
Yeah.
a very family oriented person, and like he does a lot for like Akron and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and even for Ohio State
Mhm.
and their team. So I think those are the reasons why I like him. And he's
Did sorry for cutting you off.
no, you're good.
Did it kind of seeing him because I know you kind of did some stuff at Toledo
Mm-hmm.
off the court.
Mm-hmm.
Did that kind of I mean, it seems like you look up to LeBron. Did that kind of was that kind of a reason why you wanted to do some stuff off the
Yeah,
court?
most definitely. I'm a people's person, and I like to
People pleaser?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, a little. Need to stop that sometimes, but sometimes it's good. But I also I like to be a part of like helping others.
It just feels good.
It does, it
Exactly.
does.
You feel like a better person.
You do, you know. Just taking the words right out of my mouth.
It's
I'm telling you, I do feel like a better person. I'm just a happy person. I love to help. Like I love
yeah.
to help people. So it definitely makes me feel good, and it wants me to keep. I want to keep doing that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah. And this is a topic for another day. But the reason why I think Michael Jordan is the GOAT
hmm
is because you brought up the LeBron, how he doesn't have it on all the time.
yeah,
I think Jordan always, I mean, did
yeah.
you watch The Last Dance?
Yes, I
That dude
did.
always had that switch on.
There was no turning off the switch,
I
no
saw,
game at
yeah,
all.
I saw there was one clip, I forgot, it was Brown something, I'm blanking on the guy's name. Uh, he was talking to him before the game. He was on the Spurs. He goes, "You playing today?" And the guy goes, "Nah, I'm hurt." He's like, and he tells him who's guarding him. He laughs and goes, "Huh, 50." And they drop 54 on the dude.
Yeah.
So it's like you can't like. I'm not saying LeBron can't do that. LeBron can definitely do that. It's just
Yes.
sometimes you kind of look at him and kind of like, are you really trying?
Like
Sometimes.
it makes me mad. Like I'm
Exactly.
going around telling people you're my favorite player and this is what you do. Like
Exactly.
you make me mad. But like when he turns it on, he's
It's
unstoppable.
exactly. I mean,
Mhm.
playoff LeBron's a real thing.
Yeah.
2017 Cavs. It's. I mean.
Oh my goodness. Don't make me reminisce. I literally almost rolled my ankle when we won.
Speaking of the Cavs, this year
They're dominant.
when they fired Bickerstaff too, I was kind of like,
Like what are they gonna
why?
do? Yeah.
And I'm like, Atkinson wasn't a great head coach. I mean,
Mhm.
but this year, they're killing it.
Yeah. There's
So
no stopping them.
who's your WNBA player?
My favorite WNBA player right now is Kalea Copper. I love her game.
She's
a
on the Suns or
Phoenix.
That's
Yeah.
Mercury. Sorry, I was
Mhm.
thinking of basketball.
No, you're good.
She
You're
was
good.
on the Sky, and then they traded her.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I love her game. I like her aggression. I like how hard she goes, and I like there's levels to her game.
Mhm.
And also like like this is definitely off topic, but I like her fizz. Like you look
Yeah.
at fly and all of that. But I like her story too.
Uh-huh.
Like she always was ready for her
Yeah.
moment. So that's also where I got that from. Like at Toledo, just always be prepared and ready for your moment. You do the hard stuff behind the scenes, and eventually somebody's going to notice, and you're going to get your opportunity. You're going to be ready. So
Exactly. I would say for me, just because you know how you kind of said LeBron's from Ohio, Jewel Lloyd went to my high school.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
You always like that.
she is the Aces just are like I feel like the Warriors in like 2017 when they were like peak where they're just adding.
Yeah.
It's like, bro, you have the MVP and now you're adding Jewel Lloyd.
Yeah,
It's like,
it's over.
it's like, bro.
It's over.
Nah, but she's
legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's
I mean,
legit.
her nickname's Gold Mamba for a reason.
Yeah, no, literally. Like she's like, oh, I'm just excited. Like, so ready for the season to start.
And then where is your favorite place that you've ever played? And I mean, you can say high school, but I'm assuming it's going to be somewhere in college or something.
Definitely.
Because, D1 arenas are usually, unless it's like IMG, are nicer.
Yeah. So, my favorite place that I've played. I'm trying to think. My favorite place. I'm gonna say Northwestern.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Do they play at I'm blanking on the stadium name or the arena name. Welsh Ryan?
Yes, I think so.
That
Yeah.
arena's nice.
Yeah. Hmm.
Did you have
Real
any
nice.
kind of reason, or
Yeah.
do you drop something on them?
Yeah.
That's nice.
My first
I'm an Illinois fan,
career
so
high.
I'm all for that. What
Career high.
was it 35?
26.
Oh
Yeah,
wait, that was
26.
before this
Yeah, yeah,
year.
yeah.
My bad.
Yep, yep,
Yeah,
yep, yep.
I read about that, and I was like, was it? I knew it was a 6. I didn't know if it
Hmm.
was 2 or 3.
Yep.
But that's a. I mean, that's a pretty legit. They're usually relatively good at women's basketball
Hmm.
too, right?
Yeah.
And then I gotta ask, what was your March Mad? I didn't usually get March Madness people, so what was your March Madness experience like? How was that? Was that a blast?
Oh, so believe it or not, I had surgery before they went to March Madness. I was
Oh,
so upset.
that's
I
so
know. So
bad.
we went to I went to the MAC tournament,
Uh-huh.
and then my trainer couldn't figure out a way to have me in a wheelchair because I was crutching around so much, like
Mhm.
everywhere. Like I was getting tired.
Yeah,
My arms was
working out,
hurting.
yeah.
It was just so much. So my trainer couldn't get like a wheelchair for me to go. So I was just like, okay, I'll just stay at home.
Yeah,
But I was so turned at my crib. I was
yeah.
yelling through the screen. The girl Quenisha Lockett, that's literally my twin,
Uh-huh.
my best friend. Like she was going off. I was blowing her phone up at her
Yeah, yeah,
screaming.
yeah, yeah.
But I was just so happy. Like I couldn't contain myself. When I came back, I was just like, y'all did y'all
Who did you
thing.
guys so beat, and then who did you guys lose to?
So we beat Iowa State,
Mhm.
and then we lost to Tennessee in
Okay,
the second
lady,
round.
that's a legit team.
Yeah,
Um,
that's
yeah,
when
that's
Rakia was still on the team.
oh, so yeah, that was a
Yeah,
pretty good team.
yeah,
It's like March Madness is interesting because you see like I'm still like mind boggled by the fact that FDU beat Purdue a few years ago because FDU was so small,
hmm,
and Zach Edey, is Zach Edey, and he's 7 whatever.
yeah,
But that's a thing. Like that's the only thing that like I don't. And now with NIL, it's gonna change. But before it was all these. You can have a better team that plays better, but they can have one player like Duke this year with. I'm not like the team around Duke. Cooper Flag is insane too,
yeah,
but like Cooper Flag is he should be in the NBA.
yeah.
Like so you kind of see that, and that was the issue I think before NIL, where you could have your like the mid major teams that we're kind
Hmm.
of talking about, where they beat the first round, but then they go against these teams where like they just have those players where you're like, this person's going to be a star in the
Yeah,
NBA or the
definitely.
WNBA. We literally can't do anything for it.
You literally.
And then who would you say you model your game after?
Ooh, that's a good question. Because when I was younger, I have to tell this story. My dad would be proud. He was working at a casino, so he would escort like all the famous basketball players
Yeah.
that come into Cleveland and stuff like that. And so at the time, like I was like calling myself, young Steph. So
Yeah.
he got a video from Steph Curry himself. And he was like, "Hey Soleil, like
That
I heard,
is
I know."
sick.
He was like, "I heard you call
Do you
yourself
still
young
have
Steph."
that video?
Definitely,
That
I'm
is
gonna have to go find it. It's on Twitter.
that video that's sick.
Yeah, so I think I'll model my game after
That's
Steph.
fair. I mean,
Mhm.
that's not, the dude who leads the NBA and who's that by the way, when he retires, no one's gonna touch that record.
Yeah, no, it's over.
Considering that he broke it and he was still in his prime.
No,
What
for
was
real.
that 2-3 years
I
ago?
think so. I think it was
So
I think it was
like
3 years ago.
just think about how many threes he makes per year, give or take around 300 ish.
Yeah,
That record's not gonna be touched
never.
ever. That's like what people were saying about Oscar Robertson's triple double record.
Hmm.
There's no one's touching that.
Yeah.
Like, because how automatic you have to be. The dude, people are saying is out of his prime, and he just dropped 56 and 12 threes. What, last week?
Yes.
So it's like, when is this dude's prime over then?
Never gonna be over.
Exactly.
Keep going, Steph.
Exactly.
Keep showing me what I need to do, what I need to work on.
And then what's your favorite basketball memory? Would you say that, like, because sadly, if we could play all our sports, we would play them all we can. But
Hmm.
you're going up against everyone goes up against the undefeated Father Time. So
Yeah.
when it's all said and done, what so far is your favorite memory?
What's my favorite memory? Um, Honestly, I'll have to say winning the MAC championship. Like that feeling of really have winning, because we had already won regular season so
Yeah.
many times. So actually winning it
Uh-huh.
and then having a chance to go to the tournament, even if I wasn't part of it, it just was like such an amazing experience.
Did
like
you get
for my teammates to
Did
be a
you
part of
get
it.
any? Did they do rings?
Definitely
So you
3
got
of
a
them.
ring? Oh, dang!
Yeah.
So then,
3 rings.
well, you're gonna have 4 because we're gonna have a Bradley one,
Mhm.
and then you're gonna have a Valley Conference Championship too.
Yeah, because we're going to keep winning.
Exactly.
I'm going to speak it into existence.
Yeah, you put it out into the universe, good things happen.
Mhm, absolutely.
And Morgan Freeman, I was talking with one of my buddies.
Mhm.
He's the voice of the universe. Because wanna know what movie I got that from? The Lego movie.
Oh yeah.
When he's that one old Lego,
Yes.
and he's like talking, he's like in the air. That's who I think the universe is.
For sure.
And Morgan Freeman's a great dude.
No,
So
that voice fits.
so
The voice
so
fits.
he's gonna put it out,
Mhm.
and we're gonna win.
Okay, yep.
So we're gonna have the men's team win
Yep.
and the women's
It's
team.
going to be a great year for Bradley.
Exactly. And then I gotta ask. So I feel like I've covered most things, but is there anything else you want to add?
No, I just want to keep winning.
Mhm.
I'm glad this was a better year for Pop. Will be the start of better years for
Yeah.
her. So I'm glad we left our mark this year. Me and my team. So
Yeah, you guys. And this is not like a shot at Pop at all, but going into the year, she didn't have too many wins, and I think you guys have doubled her career win totals just in this year, and you still have the season to go.
yep,
So that's a great feat in itself, and
Yeah.
Hopefully we triple it.
yep. And I'm
Or
glad we were able
can
to do
we?
that.
I think we technically can if we have 2, and then I think it's depending on our seed, we maybe play 4 or 5 in the Valley.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a good chance we could triple it. So that would be really sick.
Yeah.
But thank you for taking time. You're a D1 athlete. You're a busy person. So
Of course.
thank you for taking time. And then gotta bring up the shoes. Thank you. Dunks for life.
Thanks for life.
So I like your shoes. But thank you again for taking time out of your day and your busy schedule to come do the podcast. I hope you enjoyed.
I definitely did. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, it's a blast. I love doing it. So thank you again for taking time out of your day.
Of course.
So guys, that's a wrap for this episode of the Sports Syllabus Show. Thanks for tuning into this and joining this conversation. Don't forget to follow and subscribe and share with your friends. Welcome